I first played No Man's Sky back in the year 2020, right as the COVID pandemic was at an all-time high. Obviously, I had other games like Animal Crossing and some Mario games to keep me busy while I was laid off from my job, and I had just kind of finished my high school career. It was a weird in-between period in my life because I had just graduated, sort of, high school, and I was waiting to start college. But I didn't even know if my college was ever going to actually start in person because of all of the uncertainty in the world. Was I actually going to go back in a classroom, or was I going to just be at home on a computer? I fired up No Man's Sky for the very first time after watching some very worrisome reviews. But it wasn't until after I watched these reviews about how unfinished, unpolished, boring, dreadful even sometimes this game was, that I realized those videos were 2, 3, even 4 years old. No Man's Sky released in 2016, almost 10 years ago by this point, and it was met with almost universal disappointment. People couldn't believe that a game of this magnitude, a game of this stature from Hello Games could disappoint on such a fundamental level. The game was unfinished. The graphics were bad. The story was almost non-existent. There was really nothing to do, which is super ironic because it's the entire universe at your fingertips. What do you mean there's nothing to do? Fast forward a couple days and I am hooked by the PS5 version of No Man's Sky. I can't believe I had never played this game before. As a huge fan of not only science fiction, but Dune in particular and high science fiction like that, I could not have had a better time with this game. I was interested in the Artemis storyline, with the Atlas stuff, with building my settlement and making my name known in the cosmos. I was having the time of my life. And then, I don't know if it's because I couldn't figure out how to work the galaxy map, which it did take me a while, I had to reach the center of the universe. That was the main goal of one of the quests. The quest. I had to get to the galactic center. And being my silly Nintendo-brained self, I really couldn't figure that out, and online wasn't helping me, and I got discouraged, and eventually, I quit. I went nearly 5 years without touching No Man's Sky. At the highest points, it was in my top 10 games of all time. It was fun, it was entertaining, but it could also be peaceful and just very serene. But when I got to that point, it all just felt very tedious to me, and I just didn't want to continue. I didn't want to move on. But I did want to move on, that's the thing. I wanted to move on, but I also didn't want to. And so 5 years later, the Nintendo Switch comes out. And there was a Nintendo Switch version of No Man's Sky, which could be considered a miracle port. How did it run at all on the Nintendo Switch, considering that console has the inner workings of a calculator? We'll never know. But it did, and it wasn't all that bad. I never made it my main console because you couldn't do cross-save, you couldn't do cross-play, you couldn't play online at all, actually. There was no online capabilities, meaning there was no Quicksilver, there was no extra level of customization, there was no online play, no Nexus missions, no nothing. It was a very compromised version of the game, but you knew that going in. And I knew that going in. And I had fun for a couple hours, and then again, I quit playing. Fast forward to June 5th of 2025. The Nintendo Switch 2 comes out, and with it, a miracle port of its own. Cyberpunk 2077, one of the big launch titles of the game, and it couldn't be more fitting. It is a phenomenal port, and debatably the ideal way to play the game. You pay the one time, the entire game is on the cartridge, and you get it all. All of the DLC, all of the story, characters, locations, everything you could ever need for a Cyberpunk 2077 experience, you have it on Nintendo Switch 2. But what I didn't know is that Hello Games was, maybe not quietly, maybe I was just oblivious, they were developing a dedicated Nintendo Switch 2 Edition update for No Man's Sky. And the difference between this and something like Breath of the Wild or Tears of the Kingdom is that if you had the game already, it was completely free. And so I downloaded it. I didn't have super high hopes. I didn't really expect to get, looped back into the gameplay loop of No Man's Sky. But I was like, you know what? It's free. I literally have nothing to lose by doing this, so why not? I installed it. I hit play. I decided to start anew. This is going to be my fresh start because the Beacon update just came out, so the settlement overhaul. There's never been a better time to play No Man's Sky than right now. And I hit play, and I'm hit with that screen. I'm starting up, and I'm on a random planet, in a random galaxy, in a random part of the universe, with a random ship that I have to work on repairing. I don't know where I am. I don't know who I am. I don't know why I'm here. I don't know whose ship this is. I don't know who Artemis is. All I know is that I need answers. So I set out, and the rest is history. The Nintendo Switch 2 edition of No Man's Sky is not without its flaws, obviously. The frame rate can dip, sometimes pretty heavily, but it's very quick to adjust itself. It's never for more than a second or two. And my base right now, I'm still in the process of overhauling it and making it much, much bigger than it is, happens to be on a paradise planet. I was in a space station, and I'm like, okay, I don't know where I am, but whatever planet is outside this space station right now is where I'm going to set up my forever home. At least my temporary forever home. Moxymoron, that doesn't make any sense, but you know what I mean. And I push R3 to scan. It's a paradise planet, and no one had ever explored it before. I set up my base, and now it's my home. Now, I can continue my journey on my PS5 because crossplay and cross progression is now a thing. Nexus missions are here. The full No Man's Sky experience is here on Nintendo Switch 2. How is it running this well? I can confidently say that No Man's Sky Nintendo Switch 2 Edition joins the ranks of The Witcher 3 and Cyberpunk 2077 as some of the most impressive miracle ports that we've ever seen on a console like this. I've played over 10 hours of No Man's Sky the past 2 days, and I have no plans on stopping. If you're watching this video on the day it comes out, I am currently on my way to leave on vacation. I'm going to be gone about 4 or 5, maybe 6 days. I will not be uploading, but I will still be reachable. Twitter, Blue Sky, the usual, Discord, things like that. And any video that you see is one that was already edited and pre-recorded. And I can't wait to bring my Switch 2 on the plane. Maybe to bring it to the beach house. To bring it to wherever we go. Because my traveler, my anomaly in Switch 2 is, and this is going to sound cheesy, he's part of me. Because when I fire up No Man's Sky, and I know I've had No Man's Sky on the PS5 for half a decade at this point, but the fact that they put so much effort, they put so much care into making sure that this game looks and runs as well as it possibly can. And you know it's only going to look and run better as we get more updates, as we get more patches. It's going to look and run even better than it does now. I have an uncompromised version of one of my favorite games of all time in the palm of my hand, and I can play it wherever I go. I can go to different distant galaxies. I can go through a black hole to attempt to get to the galactic center if I so please. I can go and try to find out who Artemis truly is. What is the Crimson Lyre? Is Nada telling the truth or not? What are we, or who are we, really? That is for you to decide. So if you have No Man's Sky, or you don't have No Man's Sky, it's currently on sale on the eShop right now. And if you buy the Switch 1 edition, you automatically get a free upgrade for the Switch 2 edition. And I could not recommend it enough. One of the most immersive and captivating experiences you can have playing a game is available right now.